Hi everybody, hope everyone's doing well this Friday. I'm looking forward to a weekend. A bit of a break from Everton, obviously with no game this weekend due to the international break. I just thought I would do this video. It's been something on my mind for a while, and I wanted to get it out there to you guys and what you think regarding the takeover really, and what's going to happen in the future, not just regarding the stadium, on the field with the manager, the director of football and everything else regarding that. So for me, why I wanted to do this video is one big thing has been always on my mind ever since I started to do podcasts, and the reasons behind why I wanted to do podcasts. Engagement and communication, which we don't get much of from the club. Back then and for many years, it's just been the same old with the club as regarding its communication and engagement. I think there was obviously a period of time when Alan Myers was part of the communications team, and he would get the stuff out there for the fan base, and it worked, and it was fantastic, and it was a good period of time. Obviously, that was in a period of time under Moyes and also under Martinez, and everything. You can see a difference when things that you can get that communication out there. But when Alan Myers left the club, obviously, it's just been, dire, basically. And one of the most frustrating things for me was through this period of time under Mishiri and under everything that he's come into the club, obviously, we don't expect him as the owner to come out and talk to the club. But there should have been a good engagement officer in place who could relay what was going on off the field when needs be, but also as regarding managers and players and everything else. It was all stuck in old school times, under the chairman of Bill Kenwright. Everything has to be close to the chest. Everything we'll put stuff out there when we get that information, and vast majority of the time we don't get any kind of information, and it has to be a pressure now, obviously from the FAB point of view, who will engage with the club, and they will put stuff out there for the fan base, for the fan base to actually understand what is going on at the club, on the field, obviously off the field. Obviously, with Sean Dyche as manager at the moment, and over the period of time that he's been manager, he's been field questions from but a lot of the time he's not been able to answer those questions because they are off the field matters, and he doesn't know all that information. But he's been that person. He's like become that engagement officer to an extent, who's basically communicating to us, or trying to communicate what is going on. But a lot of it he probably doesn't know much about. But for me, as we move into a new stadium, as we are getting close to approval from the Friedkins group to take over the football club, one of the things that I hope and I absolutely pray that when they come in, they put the right people, obviously, in charge. Your CEO, your chairman or chair lady, the people who are going to be there, but also a good engagement officer or director of communication, somebody who can come in from outside, who knows how to communicate with the fan base, with customers, because that's what we are, consumers, and to engage with us with the processes which we're going to have as we go forward. The worry that I have, and it's what I've been hearing out there, is the Friedkins, or the Friedkins don't communicate that well with the consumer, and they keep stump and they keep quiet. That's what I've heard from what's happening at Roma. They don't communicate that well unless necessary to do so. So at the moment, obviously, it's a bit of issues going on at Roma with regarding the CEO resigning, sacking their managers, and everything that's going on at that club at the moment. So they're going through a bit of a bump in the road at the moment, but what I'm hearing is that they're not very good at communicating to its consumer, the fan base over there. And I just hope that they come in with different philosophy or different perspective, that to make sure that they get the engagement right with us as fans, and to get it out there what they want to take this club forward. So that's all we need to know. what is the process, what is the direction they're going to take. It's pretty straightforward. You don't need to go into any legalities or things that you have to keep stum and not really say anything at the moment. Just a basic outline of where they want to go, but make sure that if you've got a director of communications or somebody that can engage that and is really good at doing that job and getting it out there when that information is available and keeping us in the loop throughout that process, you're going to get a happy fan base that basically feels that the club cares about us, cares about what we feel, and that they want to actually, they want to help, to make sure that everything that they're doing is the right thing to do and the way forward. If mistakes happen, which will probably happen, if things happen, if they can communicate and engage when those things happen, then we can accept that, because that's, running a football business, any football business, you can have the ups and downs. And what we have at the moment, obviously, with going through this takeover and the financial issues that we've had in the past and everything that's ongoing with the club under the Mashiri reign and what's happening in that point of view, is that, we want to, and that communication not being there for that length of time and nothing coming out from the club, we have to keep on, getting Fab involved to try and get any kind of information out regarding what's happened with any takeovers that we've had or an investment, what's going on here, what with the stadium and everything else, and being engaging. We have to go after them for that information, when in reality it should have been the other way around. If they were giving us that information, it makes everybody's life ever so easy. But it's just that engagement, that communication is a massive, massive part of any business, not just a footballing business. And football, obviously, it has a different feel because your consumer are the millions of fans that follow your football club, and they're the people that you need to engage with more, not just the season ticket holders and the members who go to the, to the game, the shareholders. It's many fans who can't get to the game and are watching it on the TV all over the world. You have to communicate and engage with us. And if you're not doing that, you're just going to get on the wrong foot with a lot of fans straight away. And that is what we don't need. So in my view, as we move forward and when this approval takes place, they need to get out there. If they've done it behind the scenes and we don't know yet, and they've got the appointments that they're ready to bring in, and they're ready to make the announcements on day one, as soon as that approval is made, and they can come out and communicate, it'll be a good idea if somebody sits down with somebody to be from the media to be interviewed or do a press conference or something. Just outline what your plans are, what you want to do, what you're exciting to want to do. Get out there regarding what you want to do with the manager, the director of football, because the main thing is what's happening on the field. Obviously, off the field has to happen. We want stability. We want to get this club back into a strong position as we go into Bramley-Moore Dock. And when we would, obviously, everybody, it's the catalyst. Bramley-Moore Dock, the stadium, it's going to be a catalyst for generating lots of money coming into the football club. It's going to be used not just as a football stadium, it's going to be used for concerts and everything else, and regenerating the whole area of that part of Liverpool and what they want to do with that. But the biggest thing as fans, we want to know what's going to happen on the field. Are we going to have a transfer kitting in January? Are we able to bring players in? Is the manager, now he's got 6 months left on his contract, is he going to continue until the end of the season? It doesn't look likely from what I'm hearing out there that he's going to be given an extension of his contract. So the decision making is this. Do you make a decision on his future now, after the next couple of games, if things continue to not improve on the field? And the way that a vast majority of the fan base feel about the manager at the moment, and the feeling that he's not, he's not going to take this club into Bramley-Moore Dock. He's not going to be that manager that's going to progress us and to be able to take us to where we want to go. And a lot of fans, we all want our club to be competitive in the Premier League, obviously, but we also want to climb the table. We want to get into Europe. We want to have a team that is capable of winning trophies, opportunities to get there, but having that team. And if he's not going to be the manager at the end of the season, or the manager, even if he was to stay to the end of the season, I just feel there's a missed opportunity between now being November and May, when his contract's out and he'll be leaving the football club. We have a 6-month period. We have a period of time where we can get the person in. If they are looking at another manager, is it a long-term manager, or is it, or are you, if you're going short-term, then who's that going to be? They've done it at Roma. They've done it with bringing Ranieri in for a temporary basis while they look for another manager. And maybe if Kevin Felwell is still being thought of as a director of football going forward for a period of time, then he should be the one making the decision on the manager. Is that the right decision? Should he be the one making that decision? Because as he's also 6 months end of his contract. Are they looking at, away from us while the approval is taking place, are they looking at a new director of football? Are they looking at a new manager? They've obviously thought about this, because obviously they've not spoken to Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche has mentioned several times in press conferences that he's not spoken to him, which for me, for the fact that they've not spoken to him, but they may have spoken to Kevin Felwell, that's ominous in my mind, that they're not looking at him in the future. And they can look at social media, they can get all that information out there, they can see that the fan base are not happy with the manager, but they can also see that there's a lot of concern regarding the director of football as well. And is he the right man to take this football club further forward? Are they going to give it any kind of faith, or are they going to keep him on in a transitional period? Because obviously it's going to be a transitional period while they look for a new director of football, sporting director. If that is the case, then you may as well actually look at bringing an interim manager in until the summer if you are bringing a new director of football in, because in my mind, the director of football is everything. He's got to be the one that makes that decision regarding the manager and who to bring in, and the remit, and say, look, this is who I think will be great for this football club. And if it's a long-term appointment, then it has to be on a long-term contract, and it has to, we all as fans, if it's the right person, we have to get behind him. We have to have the faith, and we have to have the patience, because this is not going to take, we're not going to be like, fantastic in the season's time. It's going to take a longer period. Why? Because of the team that we currently have, which are out, several players are out of contract. We have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously. If it doesn't look like he's going to sign a new contract, so he'll be gone, unless it's down to the manager. Maybe he's waiting for what happens with regard to manager, because it seems to be he's not happy at the moment, and maybe with a new manager he might have a little bit more faith in that manager. He may have faith with the new owners, with a new brush that's going to come in and sweep everything that needs to be done. So there's a lot of things to think about, really, when you pull that trigger, because that's the biggest thing, is when do you pull the trigger, because that's the main thing. When do they pull the trigger? Do you do it now, or do you do it at the end of the season? The main focus is, I think the team is, as much as the football is dire and it's terrible, what we're seeing currently, is that at least, I don't see us being in a relegation scrap, because there's 3 teams below us who are poor, and we're poor, yes, but I think we've got the ability to pull out and be away from, finish 17th, just finish, away from 15th, 16th, 17th, and not in any kind of struggle to stay in the Premier League. And I can see that because of the players that we have. There is capability in players that we have that will be okay. And I'm having that faith, and I'm trying to be that faith. But it's a big period because we've got Brentford and we've also got Wolves at 2 home games. And then we've got a really, really difficult December. And it's if we don't get any kind of points from the Brentford game, these are opportunities here, Brentford and the Wolves game, because they're the ones I can probably pick and think that we can get some points from. But I just think the games that we have got upcoming against the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City, is that it's where do you get the points from? Are we going to be lucky to pick a point here, pick a point there? But it's all down to the 2 games that we can get something from. But if we keep on playing the way that we are, and we keep on performing the way that we are, and we just set up negatively to just try and take a point, where we need to be optimistic and go out there and actually go for it, because there's no point. You may as well just go for it and give it an opportunity and see what happens. Then I can just, we can get a result. We can get the results that we need and be fine. But if we continue being set up the way and tactically informed, and the formation is set up, and players being like for like when we're making changes and doing it, the game management of the manager and everything as we've seen this season, then I think you've got to make the call, you've got to make the decision on that manager. You've got to decide, we need to pull the trigger, and we need to do it now, and we need to get somebody in, if it's an interim basis, if it's a permanent manager, if it's all been thought of behind the scenes that we don't know of. But then, as I mentioned about engagement and communication, they can't talk about, we say, we're going to sack the manager. They can't come out and say, this is what's going to happen. You can't engage that all the time. But, when them decisions are made, communicate them decisions and saying, this is our plan and this is the way we're going to go. For the time being, short term this, long term that. The main thing is to stay in this division, and we can focus on in the summer, get the players in the summer, get the contract sorted with a lot of the players who's staying, who's going. It will obviously do a lot of looking at the youth, because the academies and the youth set up at the moment, there's some good players scoring goals for fun at the moment at the academy levels, and the under 23s as well. So there's potential there to see if a new manager, who the manager they want to bring in, maybe wants to look, they want to look at the model of looking at young players that we have at the club and looking at the academy and filtering them through to the first team. And if they're good enough, the main thing is if they're good enough to make to the first team. So it's what to see. But as I mentioned, I just wanted to talk about engagement, but everything is part of the parcel of, if you communicate really well with the fan base, with the stakeholders. We pay the money week in, week out to go. And, if you can communicate the plans and the ideas and where you want to go and where you feel you want to go, it's a win-win. It's a fantastic thing to have. And we want it to be exciting times. The stadium, when you look at how the communication as regards the stadium and with the tenure and everything that's been part of that process, communication has been fantastic when it's been given and when it's been put out there, and it's been helpful. And having it, that's, what you want, and you want to continue that, but you also want to see that on the field. And you want to have, when it comes to like players, it comes contracts, communicate the right way. Yes, a lot of things you can't say private, you can't tell the fan base everything that's going on. I can understand that. It's big business. But yeah, it's an interesting time. It's going to be an exciting time, but it's going to be a lot of patience needed as we go forward. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think, because for me, that is the biggest problem we've had for years and years and years, is just a club that can engage and communicate with us. It's simple. You know, we've got so much out there, social media. Blue Sky now is jumping on now. I mean, I'm on there currently as well. Twitter, obviously Twitter is still going as well. You've got other social media places where you can communicate. You've got other channels to get out there. If you get an engagement officer in there, get communications direct, do something, and it just helps. It just helps for us to be reassured, because we don't, you don't want a fan base like, well, what's going on at the football club? Why is this? Why are you not talking? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And if you can communicate the right way and get the right person to do so, I would definitely put Alan Myers in charge again, or you put a Julia Bold, or anybody who is willing to want to engage, but who can engage with its fan base and do really, really well at it. You know, we need, and I know there's people that may think that they're not the right people. They have agendas, or they have different opinions. But off the top of my head, what they put out there on social media, they try to communicate what's going on at the club, as much information that they could possibly get, or whoever else is out there, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's my view, and I think in the future, in the way things are going, I just hope that the new owners come in and can be as engaging as they possibly can. Not the owners, but the people that they appoint, and they can filter that information out. It will just make our lives ever so easy, and we don't have to stress all the time and moan about, oh God, they're not talking. But why aren't you not communicating that? Why aren't you not doing? And it's just been a frustrating period of time. When I started to do the podcast, it was off the fact that we needed change, we needed a reset, we needed to completely change the football club. And that was after the Bournemouth win, which meant we stayed in the division. And everybody's question was the same. We need a reset. We need to get the right people in. We need to get this, obviously, even at that time, which was MSP, I think, at some point, and somebody else was interested, obviously, then. But it's just, come on, why can't you communicate? You don't have to tell the nuts and bolts, that wonderful word that Sean Dyche likes about. You don't need to put the nuts and bolts of everything that's going on. You just need to communicate, say, keep us in a loop, just understand what we're doing. We're doing everything we possibly can. We'll keep you up to date, keep communicating, keep helping you. You're helping, to make sure reassure you that everything we're doing is the right thing to do to get this club forward. But it never did, and it's just been on and going. So hopefully, when we finally get the approval, they can run and get things started. So yeah, give me your thoughts in the comments below, what you think about the communication in the future, and the engagement, and how you would want the new owners to engage and communicate with us as fans, and how you would like to see it. So on that note, no podcast for me this Monday as an international break. I'll be back after the Brentford game with all my rambling views about that game, and any other news that comes out regarding the takeover or stadium or anything else that comes up. So on that note, everyone have a good weekend, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.